Bible study time. This is day 3, I believe, of the book of Haggai. I am going through just the first chapter. Today we're going to start in Haggai chapter 1, verse 9, that says, "You expected much, but see, it turned out to be little. What you brought home, I blew away. Why? Declares the Lord Almighty, because of my house, which remains a ruin, while each of you is busy with your own house. Therefore, because of you, the heavens have withheld their dew, and the earth its crops. I called for a drought on the fields and mountains, on the grain, the new wine, the olive oil, and everything else the ground produces, on people and livestock, and on all the labor of your hands." See, the people who God had delivered from the Babylonian exile, the Jews, this has been over a 15-year period that they have come back, and they came back hopeful at first. And God had this covenant with them that, like, I am rescuing you, but you're going to build my temple. You're going to build my temple. But now they face like mockery and ridicule. They've faced opposition for wanting to rebuild this temple. They have gone without food and without clothing and shelter. And so they have shifted their focus to building their house. And see, God in these scriptures, he was wanting them to see their sins, examine their hearts, their intentions, and shift their focus to God's purpose. He was ready to pour out blessings and restore them, but their focus needed to be on God first, not self, staying obedient and faithful. All the hard work that they were doing, nothing was getting done because it was not blessed by God. It wasn't God's purpose. These people had a covenant with the Lord. He returned them from exile, and he expected them to build his temple. But their priorities shifted, and they started to building their houses over the 15 years. Ooh, isn't that like us? Our priorities shift. We meet opposition, and we're not seeing the blessings, and we aren't seeing the provision. But oftentimes we have to stop and we have to examine what is our purpose? What are we doing? Are we building his kingdom? Are we going towards his purpose? Or are we seeking self? So he made them stop and look around. Look at the lack because of their shift in focus. They're straying from God's plan. So the big lesson here, and if you look back at verses 5 and 7 of chapter 1, he says this twice: consider your ways. So set your heart upon his ways. A new perspective. We have to examine our ways, examine ourselves. What are we doing things for? Who are we doing things for? Reconsider your priorities today. Reconsider them. Sometimes the path that God has for us is met with opposition. Most of the time it is. Like the Jews had with building this temple. They were met with mockery, opposition. But it was God's plan, and it was for God's glory. And oftentimes, if he puts us on a path to do something, yes, the world's going to try to, but we have to examine our hearts, examine our perspective, examine our why, and know that it's for God's glory. So I hope that you found this helpful. We're going to continue on in Haggai chapter 1 next time. I try to do these once a day. So yeah, go read chapter 1. And this is only 2 chapters in this Old Testament book.